Ah, friendly competition. The arena itself is quite reminiscent of Dragon Ball. It's all fun and games for now. Ooh. The Sword of Truth. Go on, change it. Yes. Anything false. 22. That's the limit. Okay. Reality and Raw. Perhaps a reality check, eh? For our boys. But I love the tone right now. Not yet. Not yet. Oh boy. Nah. He doesn't present any danger. No one's buying that. Okay, the boys are really into it now. A reality check for him. He's not all that confident though, is he? Right. Okay, that's good to know. Oh boy. Okay, this might be a step up. Oh. Those eyes. Yep. Go to the City of Magic then, right? Masadora. Oh, look at this, look at this. Who's this? Oh, that's Puhat. Yeah, his purple suit. Bro, I swear, if that guy ends up being the bomber in the middle, right? They mentioned that in the last episode. Ooh, prison. Immune to theft. Another one of these. Oh. Yes, do tell. Ah. That's a useful card. How about the effects of that card though? One of these guys could be the bomber. It's a possibility. I love that. True gamer. Ooh, okay then. Yeah, it's not going to be a clear path though, is it? Yeah. Oh, here she comes. Little brat? Okay, yeah. I'm sure. Oh no. Yes! NPCs. Ooh, nice. Ah.
これはコピーされたカードがゲームのプログラム外だからと考えられる。この世界でも雫の掃除機は有効だったけど、特殊な能力を持つアイテムは吸うことができなかった。これも念能力でアイテムを集めることができないようにプログラムされていると考えられる。
Ah, fail safes.
このゲームは仮想世界。
Okay, there it is. Confirmation.
世界のどこかで行われている。もしも本当にゲームの中へプレイヤーが入っていくとすると、魂が肉体から離れて武器に入るって ってことで
They physically go in.
わざわざ体までどこかに飛ばす必要はない。
So it's teleporting them, essentially.
分離させるための条件がゲーム機の前で発を行うだけっていうのも簡単すぎる。その程度じゃプレイヤーをどこかへ強制ワープさせるくらいが関の山。ゆえに、グリードアイランドのソフトはゲームをする
It has the components of a game, but
発を行ったプレイヤーをこの島へ飛ばすためのトラップ装置。
to this island, eh?
このゲームのクリアの報酬覚えてる？
コンプリートした指定ポケットの
Wow.
カードから3つ選んで現実世界に持ち帰り
Whoa.
使用することができる。
The tycoon's after one of those, or maybe 3 of those, or 2 of those.
使えることを示している。
Wow.
このゲームが現実のどこかで行われているなら、わざわざクリアしなくてもお宝は簡単に持ち帰れるかもしれない。
なるほど。
なるべく早くすべて把握したいところだな。そこで当面の目標はスペルカードのゴッドアイ。
Nice.
あとはフィンクスたち
In
との交
character,
流
of
だな。
course. Oh, I love it.
でもスペルカードたくさん持てたね。
じゃあ
Is that the guy?
別行動にするか。1週間後にマサドラに集合ってことで、どっちが多くプレイヤーを殺すか競争ね。
オッケー。カードを奪ってからやるよ。
It is the guy.
ねえ、どうする？あれ。
She can keep up, right?
ほっとけほっとけ。山賊が出たらどさくせで負けばいいよ。
Don't think so.
それはちょっとひどすぎない？あいつだってデズギャラが合格させた念能力者だぜ。
Right. Hell, she might come in handy.
思ったよりついてくんな。
基礎体力はなかなかのものだね。
Okay.
ガキの割にはだけど。
Yeah, okay, she's not a kid. Ooh, okay, here it comes. Let's see. She's going to end up assisting them, isn't she? And that'll kind of...
助けてください。お願いします。
A side quest. Oh no.
島の風土病です。
They need a specific card item.
微熱から始まって徐々に高熱になっていき、ついには死に至ります。このままではこの子は 2,3 日中に死んでしまいます。なんと
Hey, Miluki's theme.
恵んでいただくことはできないでしょうか。
Look at the framing
こ
there.
れもゲームのイベントだよね。ああ、金をくれればお得なアイテムとか情報とか提供しますよってことだな。ほぼ針金全部だよね。こっちの情報を知った上での回答だね。
It incorporates everything.
8万ジェニーならなんとか出せますけど。
ああ、いいからちょっと黙っててくれる？こいつ殺す。
こんな時、子供服があれば、子供服があれば。
俺の服でよかったら。いや、俺はいい。
Just a little bit of
情
information.
報とかアイテムとか。何にもなしかい。身ぐるみ剥がされた上に一文なしになっちゃったね。いよいよ本格的なバトル開始だね。お手並み拝見だな。こっちこそキルアが秘密の修行でどんな技を身につけたか見せてもらうよ。
Let's have a look. Ooh, okay, there's still...
岩石地帯か。行くぜ。
Oh boy, okay.
ゴンのパンチでもダメージなしか。一匹につき一撃で動きを封じるには。
You've got to go for the... Yeah. I love it.
ビンゴ、目が弱点だ。
Little Shadow of the Colossus action. There, she's getting a good look at them now.
動
Impressed?
きには無駄が多いけど、ま、なかなかだわね。
Ooh. This reminds me of young Gohan and his training that Piccolo puts him through.
こいつ弱いよ。
Hold on, hold on.
けど早い。とにかく捕まえよう。
Go on, kill.
そう。
点じゃなく線で捉えるんだよ。敵の動きを観察すれば起動のパターンが
Oh,
見えてく
she's
るだろう
going
な。
to be their new teacher,
せっ
isn't
かくい
she?
い目があるのに宝の持ち腐れじゃないの。
I like it.
あんなやつばっかの方が 早くマサドラについていいな。
Hold
バ
on.
カ言ってんじゃないよまったく。急に強くて素早いのが出たらどうすんだ。
And that's exactly how it's about to play out, isn't it?
シャボン玉？
Hold on. Don't let him touch you.
それにしてもこいつらなんて
I love it.
なんてもったいないんだ。こいつら磨けばすぐにでも光り輝く原石じゃないの。
Whoa, okay.
今度は手強そうだね。ギャー。
okay,
首すんな。ようだよ。できないの？
they should tell us quite a bit.
いい
Ah.
かだろ。そいつは空図だからいくら攻撃しても効かないよ。
Little Jigglypuff.
カードゲット。
And now,
ようできるじゃないの。なんで言われるまでやらなかったの？
いや、
kind of forgot.
忘れてたわけね。これからは私が指を立てたらすかさず行。そして何が見えたか。
She's the new teacher. Look at this.
それ以外にも何か怪しい雰囲気を感じたら何を置いても行。いいね。
It's a good tip.
なんだよ急に偉そうに。数字の5。
正解。お前腕立て伏せ200回。
Oh,
お、罰ゲームだよ。早く。
ふざけんな。誰が。
そっか。自己紹
Go
介
on,
が
give us a
まだだった
name.
ね。私はプロハンターのビスケットクルーガー。
Biscuit
念を覚
Krueger.
えて40年。あんたたちとは知識も経験も段違いのこの私がこれから直々コーチしてやるからありがたく受ければいいだわさ。
40 years ago.
念を覚えて40年。ババアじゃん。
Killua
ゴンとキルアの後をついてきた
is
少
not
女
a young girl at all.
なんと大ベテランのプロハンターだった。
Or actually, hold on. Let's discuss it.
今回紹介するのは
God Eye.
シャルナンコが欲しがってたね。
Yeah, it is.
このカードを使うと指定したカードの説明やそのカードを持ってる人数、合計枚数がわかるんだ。俺も欲しい。
Useful card. Okay, look at that. Gon and Killua now have their next teacher, right? Their next coach. The next person, to kind of notice them, right? She recognized their potential, much like some of these other people have, including someone like Hisoka. Hell, there's even the similarity there, right? Something in common, because you do have someone really quite experienced in Hisoka who did notice all that potential, right? And he wants to, protect that potential. And he wants that potential to reach its height, right? The expected height. And then, of course, from that point on, that's how maybe the motives, potentially deviate. Because, of course, for Hisoka, the notion of protecting that potential, right? Harnessing that potential, or at least aiding from time to time in harnessing that potential and guiding it, right? Laser focusing it. It's all about one day getting the chance to test it, to one day get a chance to, have that fight, the glory of combat and all of that, and to one day have the pleasure of taking that potential out, right? Now you have someone in Biscuit Krueger. And how about that name, folks? I mean, that is just such a unique name, right? It's a name that stands out. But yeah, in Biscuit Krueger, you have yet another really experienced individual. Hell, this one might be even more experienced than Hisoka, even. This is someone who is a pro hunter, right? Someone who learned Nen 40 years ago. So of course, in that you also get a confirmation that indeed it's not just a normal girl. It's just not. This is actually someone that is highly experienced in her field, right? Perhaps highly respected as well. I'm sure I'll get to find out, right? In these next few episodes, as they kind of also get to know each other, right? Because that's essentially the next phase of this. Now that she's, firmly established herself as their next coach, right? She took it upon herself. Because, to me, it felt like she cannot stand the idea, the notion of this kind of raw potential, though maybe it's not as raw anymore since, both Gon and Killua have also had some experiences, right? But yeah, in her mind, the idea of, this kind of potential going to waste is just unforgivable, right? That's the tone I'm getting. That's a feeling I'm getting from Biscuit. I think her interest in this kind of potential is more so about seeing those heights, right? Or helping you reach those heights, those potential heights. If you look at her assessment, she feels that Gon and Killua are still kind of rough around the edges, and there's still quite a bit that they need to learn about. And there you have something exciting because I think I even spoke of this, right? The next step in their education. But yeah, this is it. This is the next step in their education, in their Nen education, right? And honestly, I'm really quite excited because like I discussed again, a few episodes ago at this point, I suppose, anytime they do come across this type of figure, right? Back in Heaven's Arena, it was Master Wang, who actually said something really quite interesting back in that arc that I can maybe apply to this situation. Biscuit Krueger's really unique or puzzling or strange situation, right? Because as of this point, it's all just open to speculation, open for speculation rather. Her condition, is it even a condition? Her actually being a much older person, much more experienced person, but in a body of a young girl, right? Or at least the appearance of a young girl. So yeah, of course, I'll get into a few of those possibilities. You know me, I love a bit of speculation. I love, a bit of theory crafting and all of that. And also, speaking of speculation, I think now by the end of this episode, I might have a better grasp on the motives of the tycoon, right? His reasoning, because it's not entirely based on just the stuff that came out of this episode or just the anime in general. It's just kind of thinking about that kind of archetype, right? That type of character, filthy rich, money is no object, and kind of thinking about the things these type of people are after, the things that they think they can afford, right? Because they have essentially this bottomless pit. There's a few things that are, maybe, okay, essentially it's a little bit cliche, of course, but it's just one of those things. Rich people in those positions, and then of course, you look at fiction more specifically, right? What's one of the things that always comes to mind, right? If you have that type of money, immortality, right? Or if not immortality, at least the notion of prolonging your natural life, right? Or, kind of going beyond the natural cycle of your life, your aging cycle. That could be a strong possibility, I think, for the tycoon, right? A few episodes ago, I kind of speculated, and I kind of explored that type of character type. I discussed that this archetype, right, this character archetype, a lot of times they think they can have access to anything because of their money, right? Again, money is no object. So, they think they can get anything they want. But again, sometimes even unlimited amount of money is not good enough, right? It's just not enough. Sometimes life has other plans, right? You can't beat the system. You just can't. And, I kind of strongly feel that it could be one of those types of setups for the tycoon, right? I know, he's barely even being mentioned anymore, right? Other than the fact that he's the one who sent Gon and Killua, and then of course some of the other ones in there. But again, like I said, I am fascinated by this character's motives, right? For that reason, because again, I've come across these types of characters, this character archetype before. But yeah, at this point, one of the strong possibilities, in my opinion at least, is that of immortality or something that is kind of in the same bracket, right? Prolonging your life. Biscuit Krueger, who also has something really interesting going on as far as aging goes. And yeah, also before I forget about it, back in Heaven's Arena in the early days of, Gon and Killua's Nen education, right in the beginning stages of it, Wing, he told them that, the mastery of Nen can allow you to slow down or even, halt the aging process, or, bring it to a halt, right? To really quite a slow process. So I think that idea, that concept certainly could be at play here through Biscuit Krueger. But I think that's just one component of it, perhaps, because I think there is more to it. I think there is more to it in terms of her being in the body of a young girl, or her having the appearance of a young girl. Then you kind of go down that road. Is this by choice? Is this not by choice? Is this some kind of curse? Something, maybe something happened and she's stuck in this form. But if it is something by choice, then of course, you have to ask, why exactly did she go to this body, right? A young girl's body. So yeah, there's, one thing that this character brings almost immediately is intrigue, excitement, because, I'm latching on almost immediately. I like the dynamic that's already at play. You see Killua and Biscuit are going to have a really fun dynamic. Killua is not going to be the one that's really going to, take to her from the looks of it. And I like that. You need a bit of that. That friction, the butting of heads, right? It makes for a lot of fun moments, but I think it also makes for a lot of interesting moments as well, as far as Killua and his own, learning process out here, right? His own identity, his changing identity. But yeah, of course, Gon took to her almost immediately, right? Follow those instructions. The moment the hand goes up, he tells her number 5, because at this point she told him, she made it clear, anytime my finger goes up, yeah, and you tell me, right? You holler the number that I'm holding up. But yeah, Killua, no, not so much. So that, I'm sure that's going to be a lot of fun, but I can also see that at some point Killua is going to respect her. He is. You see that Gon already understands that, okay, this is someone that can help me, kind of reach the next level, help me take the next step in my education, right? He's open to the idea and he immediately just kind of takes to her. But again, I'm not saying that Killua doesn't pick up on this. Of course, Killua's picked up on the fact that, okay, this is not just some normal girl that's just, impressive enough to make it into the game. He also noticed that she is impressive. And that's before she even revealed herself to be this experienced, pro hunter, a Nen master at that. So yeah, that idea of this potentially having, components of a training arc are certainly right there. Right, firmly established. It is going to be that as well, for sure. But yeah, quickly going back to my point about the tycoon and, his motives and all of that. Another thing that kind of came into play in terms of my assessment is, this idea of this legendary item, right? The breath of the Archangel. That faction that tried to recruit Gon and Killua, they brought it up, or at least one of them brought it up. The one guy, I'm kind of suspicious of. I mean, to be honest, that faction, yeah, they feel, something about them does feel a bit shady or sketchy. I'm not, like I said, it'd be silly to just completely, believe everything they're saying. But now in this episode, they do feel a bit more shady. But the fact that they are getting such a focus, right? A lot of screen time, though, of course, throughout that screen time, it's a lot of setup, a lot of exposition as well. But, these are new characters that I just met and they're getting that much screen time, right? So to me, that immediately throws up this thing of, okay, they have to mean something, or at least one of them, if indeed one of them does end up being the bomber, yeah, of course, it means something to the story as a whole to focus on these people that I just saw for the first time in the last episode. But the breath of the Archangel card itself, the name itself, and then you go to Sean Lark's segment in this episode, the check-in with the Phantom Troop members, right? Again, fantastic developments, right, and implications throughout this episode. But Sean Lark's segment and the information that comes out of that, this confirmation that, okay, if you are able to clear the game, you get to choose 3 items, any 3 items, and you get to bring those items into the real world, right? And have them function as those items, right? So now, they've kind of established the idea of these types of items, right? These super rare SS cards that are so incredibly rare that no one's on record to have actually obtained it. right? And they know this because of another card, List. Because again, Puhat kind of functions as the audience surrogate in that moment, and he immediately responds, right? And he's got a question about that. How do you know? How do you know no one's actually obtained it? But because of the information I do get from Sean Lark's deductions, and confirmation as well, essentially that indeed it is a real place and it's just an island, right? And these players, including the Phantom Troop and Sean Lark himself, got teleported here, right? They got sent here. See, now it's kind of beginning to remind me of Lost, right? The island and all of that. Again, I'm not going to go too much into that in terms of potential spoilers, but then, also, as far as Yu-Gi-Oh goes, I'm thinking of Duelist Kingdom. I'm thinking of Battle City, right? In terms of locations throughout the island, right? There's a lot of stuff going on here. And, the really impressive aspect of this is that now that I have a confirmation, yeah, this is an actual place that they built, right? Of course, Nen is a strong component of it in terms of, these, NPCs and some of these other things, and, the actual functionality in the programming of the cards, right? And the whole, book component of it, and, turning them into items and gain and all of that, right? There's certainly Nen, really impressive Nen at play. But, the place itself is a place, right? It exists. These, different places on the island, really unique places, they exist, right? I mean, some of it naturally, of course, you see Gon and Killua out in the elements, they didn't build that. That's just out there. But, some of these cities, I think, had to be built, right, from the ground up. And of course, I'm really quite excited to get to the City of Magic, right? Masadora, because, both Gon and Killua and, Biscuit Krueger as well at this point, and Phaeton and Finks are heading to Masadora. And I'm guessing, the rest are also going to meet up there as well. And by the rest, I mean Kortopi, Shizuku, and Shalnor. But yeah, in terms of the island itself, and its location, yeah, I'm sure there's something really interesting going on, or something really interesting at play in terms of, keeping it really, really difficult to find, right? Keeping it out of sight, right? Having something at play or in play that makes it nearly impossible to, kind of enter, right? Through other means other than, the game itself. The programming of the game, Greed Island, though, Sean Lark doesn't actually even consider it a game. He considers it a trap. How about that for a potential dig at whoever came up with the idea of this game. But that being said, the world of Hunter x Hunter is full of just incredible people, right? Intelligent people, just, I don't know, special people. I'm sure someone's looked into it. I'm sure someone's tried it. Hell, I'm sure someone might try it in the future. Actually try to, get onto the island somehow, right? Even if you don't have access to the game itself. But yeah, going back to that card, the Breath of the Archangel, that name drop, and again, the confirmation that it's essentially one of the rarest in the game altogether. The Breath of the Archangel. So again, given the fact that no one's actually ever obtained this, and it's incredibly rare, I'm sure the Tycoon has his sights on this card as well, perhaps in addition to a couple of others that might be part of his grand plan. Going back to my initial point and my initial speculation about his motives, and that potentially including something like immortality, or something in that branch, right, as far as aging goes, prolonging life and all of that. But yeah, going back to that faction, they claim that they do have the 40 spells that are required before you can trade for that card, for the Archangel, the Breath of the Archangel. But they feel that they need another card, or another copy of another really crucial or important card, really useful card called Prison. The list of cards, it kind of grows episode by episode, right? In terms of really useful cards. I mean, in this episode, I get a few of them. Hell, one of them is just called List, right? Straight up just called List. As I mentioned a few moments ago, then you've got, again, Prison, really handy card, really useful card. And then you've got God Eye, right? That Sean Lark brings up a little bit later on, because he feels that they need to learn about much more. They only know a few of them at this point, right? So they, before they can actually try to smuggle some of these cards out, some of these items out, without actually clearing the game. And ultimately, I do think he's also thinking about the Phantom Troop as a whole. Sure, maybe I'm overthinking it, right? And maybe this doesn't have anything to do with Krollo's condition. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with that. Maybe this is just about, okay, this is how the Phantom Troop functions. This is how they roll. And right now, they're just kind of, trying to get as much out of this game as they can, right? Take as much as they can in true fashion, right? Truly in character. They're not out here trying to actually clear the game. I mean, Shalnark even confirmed that before going into the game, right? In the last episode. Now, that's not his interest. But, he did say, more or less, this is true business, right? So I think someone as savvy and intelligent as Shalnark, I think he's always going to be thinking about how he can potentially help their leader, their friend, Krollo. But the fact that it's so difficult, the fact that it's so challenging, the game itself, that just tells me that some of these items are going to be just incredible. The chance to bring them, out of the island and actually using them. Yeah, life-changing type stuff, clearly. The type of stuff that makes you spare no expense, right? That makes you hire an incredible amount of hunters to go in on your behalf, right? On a contract, of course. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. But then, you kind of have to shift the focus to Gon specifically because, Gon more so than anyone else has a much more intimate or personal connection to this game, right? Because again, his father is essentially, is he the lead? Can I call him the lead designer of the game? I know, he said Jing and friends, I made this game with my friends as he specified. But I think it's safe to say that he's probably one of the head honchos, right? And maybe he kind of recruited a bunch of these friends. Again, that's speculation. It's entirely possible that, all of these friends just got together and decided, okay, use all of our different specialties and build something spectacular. But again, I do feel that Jing really wanted Gon to get to this point at some point, right? He was hoping he could make it this far. And I think that's kind of like a running theme here, right? Yes, I'm not trying to see you. And don't think, you're going to get any hints out of the game to, have a clue about my next destination or, just my destination in general. But I do want you to enjoy this game now that you are here, now that you've made it, right? So that's still a part of this. But he specifies to Gon, Jing, that is, that he's not going to be able to leave until he gets that one item. But also, let's kind of move on from Jing and actually focus on his friends. Because yes, it's been established that Jing is not the type of person that you can just find, right? He's a tough cookie to crack, tough cookie to locate because he doesn't make it easy, right? He's not going to make it easy for Gon either, of course. But, how about these friends of his that helped, make this game, right? Are they around? Who are they? Hell, is there even a possibility that a few of them might be hanging around? Maybe they are on this island, right? Kind of like a fun undercover type thing, right? They could be just, passing off as someone that is just a part of the game. Maybe it's possible. They've already kind of established that these characters, be it Shalnark, be it Gon and Killua, who had their own encounter with, those bandits that took a bit of a different approach as far as scamming goes. They lost everything they had. But the point is, really early on in this arc, they've already kind of established, okay, it's really kind of easy to spot the NPCs. So I almost kind of debunked my own idea. There's also the other possibility, right? That they actually might be coming through just like anyone else, just like Gon and Killua, right? Actually entering the game, entering their own game. So I think that could be a cool possibility if, some of these friends are actually a part of the game or in the game as well, right? Kind of like undercover. That could be cool. But yeah, let's kind of focus a bit on the game itself, right? The programming of it, the functionality of it, the different components of it. See, at this point, it's really quite clear that Togashi put in a lot of time and effort into this card game component of it, into the functionality of it, into the cards, the specific cards, and the descriptions, and beyond the descriptions, the actual strategic elements of it, how certain cards are going to come into play as far as character, motives go within the game itself. You see the thought process is there, right? And then, of course, beyond that, you get to see that clearly this man is a gamer, right? Us gamers know another gamer. You see those components, a lot of fun components of, fantasy RPGs, JRPGs specifically. I mean, you can infer, you can take an educated guess. I'm sure, he is a fan, perhaps a big fan of Final Fantasy, right? Other JRPGs, I'm sure of it. But still, it'd be nice to kind of read up on his influences. But yeah, going back to Biscuit, or at least, the final moments of this episode, I got a new theme. New music is always exciting to me. And this is essentially her proper introduction, right? So this, yeah, most likely is her theme, and I like it. I like it so far. I like the sound of it. Yeah, I'm excited for this character, right? Because almost immediately you see the potential there, right? It just, I don't know, it just feels like this is about to be just a lot of fun, right? It's going to make for a lot of fun situations, and I'm sure it's going to be a crucial component of Gon and Killua's education, right? The next step. But yeah, I think that should do it for this one, folks. If you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you are interested in early access, or perhaps even timer-based full length or full opacity, consider checking out the Patreon page and, potentially supporting the channel in the process. The links are in the description and the pinned comment, also links to social media, if that's your thing. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, folks, and thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for the next episode. Until then, take it easy.